down. We the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to the Scoreboard. We are in week 7, USFL playoffs in the hunt now. Critical games everywhere. As we've established last week, it's a very tight league. We don't really have any big favorites, any runaway teams anymore. So every game matters. So Smokey, how are you doing?
Well, I am better than the Maulers, as a matter of fact. The Maulers fans, that is.
Yeah.
I'd imagine the team still feels pretty good about themselves, but the fans are disappointed because it looked like they were on the up and up. The arrow was pointing straight ahead, and then you blew it. You got not just beaten, you got blown out. You got stumped. You got zeroed. You got goose-egged by the Showboats. And it doesn't look good for you anymore. Maybe they can pull it together, but I don't know. The whole league is in disarray, in my opinion. I don't know who's good anymore. Everybody looks like they're on an even playing field. The dominant teams are looking bad and they're on losing streaks. The bad teams are on winning streaks. I have no idea what's going on in this league anymore. And this week here, I have no idea who to pick, so I'm just going to wing it.
Yep, that's about right. Describes it just fine. First shout out of the entire USFL season, by the way, courtesy of the Maulers there at Memphis. And I watched that game in full, and needless to say, didn't exactly meet expectations from the Mauler side. We sat here last week and we talked about them potentially having the most explosive quarterback in the league, and the Mauler, here come the Maulers, right? They're on an upswing now. That didn't turn out so well. 0 points is rarely something to be happy about. Showboats look good. Memphis looking good. Keep winning. I don't know what to say. I think the South is looking good. This is like the opposite of the XFL to me now. The whole Southern division is looking really strong. You could argue that all 4 Southern teams could beat all 4 Northern teams easily at this point.
Yes, I think so. Very
much.
It's surprising to see at 3-3, the Stars are on top of the Northern Division once again, and they're not looking good. So yes, absolutely, I think the entire South would mollywop the entire North, no doubt about it.
Which, if we follow the XFL, that would mean that the second North team making the playoffs somehow wins the whole thing. By the way. So there's a pretty good path for the Maulers to win the USFL.
Possibly.
Just a couple dominoes fall right. Let us hope that doesn't happen. Speaking of the Maulers and last week, how are our standings?
Oh man, it was okay for you, not that good for me. I got 2 of them correct. You got 3 of them. Let's see. We disagreed on. I picked the Maulers. I should have known. They probably would have won if I picked the Showboats. But I picked the Maulers, and you picked the Showboats. So that's how it worked out. And what did we get wrong?
Stars.
We
both must have the Breakers, right?
We did. We both had the Breakers. Yeah.
I should have picked the Stars. I made the argument for the Stars.
You made the argument for the Stars and still picked the Breakers. And I was just like, there's no way the Stars are winning this. This is the best team in the league playing against the Stars, who are just falling off, and then somehow they win it. It doesn't make any sense. The whole league is just parody, in my opinion. But that brings our total, after my 2 and your 3, to 17 for me, 19 for you. You are pulling ahead, but I will make that up over the next week or so.
Okay, let's hope you don't make that up. And also, no one is allowed to call the Breakers the best team in the league anymore.
No.
It is week 7, and that is done. And officially, if you're looking at championship odds, the Stallions are the odds-on favorite to win the USFL once again. So that is cause for celebration. And it just so happens the Stallions face the Breakers, which is a road game for the Stallions, but it's still in Birmingham to open on Saturday. Who do you got?
Oh, man. Alex Magoo is definitely running the ball better than I ever thought he could have. I guess we kind of saw it last year, but then you went to a true dual threat quarterback, and then you go back to Alex Magoo this year, and he proves that he is a dual threat quarterback. Also, CJ Marable hit 100 yards. The run game is just on fire. I can't say a lot for the passing game right now. It's not terribly inefficient, obviously. 19 for 24 to 133 yards is not good. Like he's completing the passes. They're just not going very far. But no interceptions, so that's always a tick in the Stallions' favor. Mostly passing to RBs and tight ends in that matter. Not a lot of wide receivers to talk about on this league. Jay Sternberger is doing wonderful as always, and still no Randy Moss. I'll be wondering when he gets back. On the other side, John DeFilippo has gotten this team in disarray after looking like they were the best team in the league. Wes Hills went 18 for 74 on the ground and 5 for 30 through the air. They are still trying to ride this guy, but I feel like he's getting worn out very quickly here. I mean, this is a spring league running back. You can't just overwork the guy like that, because they absolutely rode him to those first 4 wins. And now it looks like he's breaking down. Maybe he can pull it together, but I would suggest you start playing on some new running backs and helping the guy out a little bit. Johnny Dixon still looks good. He got the only TD of the game. And Sage Surratt looks good. But as for this game right here, I will be taking the road team. I really don't trust the Breakers that much at this time after those 2 losses. I'll take the Stallions on the road.
See, this is the revenge game, right? Because if you remember, we were kind of on the hype train that the Stallions are going to have an undefeated season after 9-1 last year. They're going to put an undefeated season together. And in came the Breakers, and somehow in week 3, I believe, beat the Stallions. Mm-hmm. In Birmingham, which this is also in Birmingham because both teams play at home, their home games in Birmingham, and it shocked the league, and we thought, oh, maybe the Stallions are not what we thought they were, and maybe the Breakers aren't what we thought they were because they looked so good. But here they are, both 4-2, but heading in completely different directions. So yes, I'll take the Stallions. Alex Magoo is the runaway MVP. I don't know how how anything can happen. He leads the league in passing touchdowns. He's 3rd in the league in rushing touchdowns. Leads the league in total points. At best passer rating by nautical mile. I don't know how anything can get in between him and the MVP at this point. It's just done for all I care. Unless he completely falls off a cliff, and either Bethel-Thompson or who else at this point even really picks it up.
Cole Kelly.
I don't. Maybe the Josh Allen of the USFL.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's kind of watered down Josh Allen of the USFL. No, it's over. He's gonna keep. He runs. He throws. He's unstoppable. He's the team's leading rusher. That is an MVP, and he's gonna also win them the South, and he's going to go to the playoffs. Comes in as a backup or as a rotational quarterback week 1. Jamar Smith gets hurt, and he comes in and he takes the MVP. To me, should be a huge betting favorite at this point. I haven't checked the MVP odds, but he should be a huge betting favorite. And the Stallions on his back are going to win this game. Make it all right against the Breakers, give him that L back, and take the sole lead of the Southern Division and keep it forever as it is supposed to be. That is how God intended the USFL to go. So Stallions win and everything is right. Moving up north, and maybe it's a slightly more contested and maybe slightly lower quality game, the Stars at the Maulers.
Yeah, I still want to get behind the Stars. You tried to sell me on them last week, and I'm still not sold. But then again, they're playing the Maulers. Case Cookers was bad. He was bad once again, and it's still not his fault. It is the offensive line's fault. The defense with that 72-yard pick is who won this game. It was not on the back of Case Cookers because that offensive line is so bad. The running game can't get going. As a matter of fact, Case Cookers went 17 for 27 and 0 TDs and 2 interceptions. That is a horrible stat line. That's just so bad. And I think, I mean, he's not a dynamic passer. He's not like this Tom Brady type passer that can just get the ball off in 1 second. He's going to run for his life whenever the box breaks down. And it's just, there's not receivers out there. And now I will say Corey Coleman is out there, and he's a wonderful wide receiver. He is an NFL level talent, but I guess he can't do it alone, right? I don't know. I keep trying to sell myself on this team, but I just can't. I can't do it. I don't see where they're improving at all. Even though they've won the last 2 weeks, they're not improving, in my opinion. Let me look at the Maulers for a second. Troy Williams had to split times with James Morgan. Madre London and Garrett Groshek are splitting about 50-50 at running back, and they are both horrible. They're barely getting any run as it is because they're not getting any yards out of it. Isaiah Hanney, Bailey Gaither, not great. Matt Seibert, the tight end. This team uses the tight end probably the least in the entire USFL, which is not saying too much because every single team uses at least one tight end in the receiving game. You know what? I guess I'll go with my stars for this week. I don't have a lot of faith in it, but it is the Maulers, and they just got stomped out, so maybe we can pull something out here. I'll take the Stars on the road.
I think the Stars should be considered the favorites to win the North at this point, and I'll tell you why, and it's the same reason that I gave last week, which it looks discouraging on first glance. But remember what we said all season long, all off-season, all season long, the team goes as Case Cookers goes, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we said. That's how they go. And for the first few weeks, that was true. And then he played bad, and they lost. And he's still playing bad, but they've won 2 in a row. They are finding ways to win, despite the quarterback. Not because of him, or not solely because of him anymore. He's actually not doing much to contribute to this. He's throwing the ball to the opposite team. Mm-hmm. And they're still finding ways to win, whether it be it kicking 8 out of 8 field goals in one game, or just defensively as they did last week, which was an impressive win, by the way, holding off the Breakers, who have had a very potent offense both on the ground and through the air. The Stars are finding ways to win scrappy games that they have to win, and I think this could be a scrappy game because neither of the teams is very high quality, but the Stars they're winning those kinds of games. The Maulers themselves very much struggling at the moment, so I think even given they wasn't even playing field, I think the Stars should be favored because of the consistency, at least, maybe the certainty at the quarterback position. But Stars win these kinds of games. This game is considered a pick'em. Like,
I believe
there
it.
is no spread on this game. I don't believe it.
Really?
You believe it? I don't believe it. I think this is a game. Okay, it's a home game, a technical home game for the Maulers. I think the Stars should be favored by 3 at least on the road. At least, because they win games. They are the team that will kick that last second field goal if they have to, and they will make it from 52. Absolutely. Stars against the spread all day. And by the way, riddle me this. This is right. This is one thing that doesn't have anything to do with our picks. But I'm looking at the sportsbook here. I have it open. Mm-hmm. Picking the Maulers against the spread, which I remind you there isn't one, is you get different odds than if you pick the money line for the Maulers.
But
can you make sense of that?
No. Why wouldn't it be the same if there is no spread? There
is no spread, but they're different odds. Like the money line is just more lucrative. I don't get it.
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, I'm not.
Is there something with a tie?
Yeah, I'm not a huge gambler or anything, but yeah, that doesn't seem to make sense. I'm sure some of our gambling fans in the comments can tell us though.
Could it be a tie? Like if the spread is 0, and then the game ends in a tie. Does either bet against the spread win? Because the spread is 0, and if the game's a tie, they technically covered the spread of 0 without winning the game.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Maybe. Perplexing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Stars win it, and I will pick the Stars against the non-existent spread as well. We have the Gamblers at the Showboats.
This might be the game of the week right here. 4-2 gamblers who are on fire at this time against the 3-3 showboats who happen to be on fire. Todd Haley has pulled this together somehow. I think it's on the back of Cole Kelly, which he's really good. You know, he keeps calling him the discount Josh Allen, and he looks like it, and he absolutely does. Let me start with the gamblers here. I do have a bone to pick with Curtis Johnson over the gamblers because he should have left Terry Wilson in there. Kenji Bahar comes in, and the entire offense is slow. Now, you can say this is because the Generals' defense is just that good, and they do have a good defense. But this offense was running much better with Terry Wilson in there. I know Kenji Bahar has more experience. He has the name value in these spring leagues. But, yeah, I don't know. I would put Terry Wilson back in there and see what happens. I mean, you could always, if the game is not going in your direction, you could throw Kenji Bahar back in there. I would have gave Terry Wilson the run there. Mark Thompson, the running back. This guy, they are going to run him to death. Like, it's going to be a West Hills situation. I think they are just driving this guy into the ground. Now, he looks good. I'll give him that. 22 attempts, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Not bad whatsoever, but TJ Pleasure is on the IR, so they are leaving the entire game on Mark Thompson's back, and I don't think he can last too long that way. I do like that they are using two tight ends in Josh Peterson and Clit Sick in the passing game. On the other side, Cole Kelly, Jawan Washington at running back. These guys are great. This team looks really good. It makes this pick hard, but I need to go with who I think is the number one team in the league right now, and that is the Houston Gamblers. I'll take the Gamblers on the road.
Number one team in the league? Like the league? Like the league that includes the Birmingham Stallions league?
Yes. They are number one in the power rankings for me.
Okay. Do you have a number 0 in the power rankings?
No, I do not.
Like
I have a number
1A
2
and a 1B or something.
I have a number 2 that features a guy named Alex Magoo and CJ Merrill.
Okay, features the undisputable MVP of the league and best offense. Okay, so okay. The fact that the Gamblers are your number 1 in the power rankings will make this pick even better come next week when the game is over, because I will take the Showboats in this one, and I didn't make that up on the spot. I had that from the start. Not just because you just said this unholy thing about the Gamblers power rankings. The Showboats are on the best run in the league right now. Like, if they hadn't started the season the way it started, if we'd looked at the last 3 games and the momentum that team's coming in with, I think a lot of people would consider them the best team in the league and have them at number 1 in the power rankings. And considering that they're currently last in their division, first of all, goes to show how strong that division is. But I think this team will end up in the playoffs. I think the Showboats will end up in the playoffs. And it's hard to imagine any of those other 3 teams in the South not making the playoffs. And I think that second spot belongs to the Memphis Showboats, the way they've been playing right now. And if we consider that just 3 weeks ago we called them the Boats because there were no shows and they scored 2 points and they got blown out by 40.
Yes.
The way that team has turned it around is phenomenal. Gamblers are 3-point favorites in Memphis. Major disrespect, in my opinion. This should be a pick'em at the very least. I get why people are high on the Gamblers, but this was a struggle win against the Generals, who haven't been really going anywhere. And the Showboats were dominant defensively, offensively, did whatever they wanted against the Maulers. Which, Maulers or like Generals, is there really that big of a difference? Can we really be sure that there is? I think the Showboats have had more dominant showings the last few weeks, and to me, they are favored in this game, and I will pick them and I will bet on them to win this one and take second spot in this division. I think I believe a lot in what they're doing. I think they look very dangerous. So there's my upset maybe of the week. This is where you can make up a point on me, by the way, if you're right, because I'm taking a risk, but I'm going with my gut and I'm taking the Boats. Panthers at the Generals.
All right, this is the toughest one of the entire week, so it is fitting that this is the last pick here. Both of these teams are on a horrible downward spiral. I don't know. Okay, here's something I can say for the Panthers. Let me bring up the recap here. Okay, so they played the Stallions this past week. Time of possession, 31-47 for the Stallions, 28-13 for the Panthers. Total drives, 8 each. Total plays, 57 each. Total yards, 312 for the Stallions, 295 for the Panthers. Yards per play, 5.5 for the Stallions, 5.2 for the Panthers.
Looks pretty close so far.
Yes. Here is the problem. Red zone TDs, 3 for the Stallions, 1 for the Panthers. Red zone attempts, 4 for the Stallions and 3 for the Panthers. Total yards, 122 to 209. Now, that's passing, by the way. The Panthers are keeping up with the Stallions. They just have a red zone problem here. And I'm trying to figure out if it's Josh Love or is it Mike Nolan's play calling. I think you have great running backs here in Stevie Scott and Reggie Corbin that are splitting almost dead 50-50. You have a wonderful wide receiver, an NFL talent, Trey Quinn. That guy is great, and that is definitely my favorite wide receiver in the league this year. It's really good. They just can't get in the end zone when they get into the red zone. I don't know if they can straighten that out. They can probably get back in the winning column here. On the other side, the Generals' offense is really bad under Kyle Lauletta, and I bet they're hoping they'll get their starter back soon because Lauletta is just not doing it for them. Darius Victor is great at running back, but the defense is great for the Generals. They can absolutely stop a team like the Panthers, unless the Panthers can figure out that red zone thing. So that makes this really tough because it's basically trying to figure out the offense for the Panthers against a really good defense with no offense for the Generals here. And if Kyle Lauletta's starting, I don't want to pick the Generals. I wish I knew who was starting this game. Right now, I'm going to go with what I know, I suppose, and hope that Johnson doesn't get back while I make this pick and say that the Panthers finally get back in the win column. I'll take the Panthers on the road.
It's very easy to underrate the Panthers and put them in the garbage can and say this team stinks because they went 2-0 and they lost 4 straight and they start rotating quarterbacks and it seems like no one can get anything done. But I like that you read out the stats and put some things into perspective. So they go against ostensibly the best team in the league, and they stick with them in basically any measurable category, minus scoring, right? Minus executing when you get down there, because the Stallions get into the red zone, they're nearly unstoppable because you have the best tight end, which is the best end zone threat in the league. You have one of the most mobile quarterbacks. They're running a mean read option, great inside zone running back, and it turns out he can even catch the ball and beat linebackers to the pylon. So a lot of ways that the Stallions will score in the red zone. For the Panthers, that's been their backbreaker, as we've seen in this one. They've moved the ball, they've held the ball, time of possession, didn't run it very well, and didn't defend the run very well, which will always put you behind the 8 ball if that happens. But the spread for this one against the Generals are favored by 6.5, which is way too much. Obviously, you picking the Panthers agree. I personally agree with the spread being too much. Even if the game is in New Orleans, it's not in New Jersey. It's not really in New Jersey. It's in Canton. I'm picking the Panthers against the spread. However, I'm picking the Generals to win the game. I think the Panthers are probably the most volatile team in the league. We've seen them be able to do very good first 2 weeks. We've seen them be able to implode. And I mean implode bad. They got blown out by the Pittsburgh Maulers not too long ago. That was a week ago. and that was rough. And before that, they got blown out by the up to then winless Memphis Showboats. Also rough showing. So I can see why they're very easy to underrate. But I can also see why people are doing it, because they look terrible. They've completely lost the thread. And I'm not going to bet on them until I see them perform up to any kind of level. Now, this game, you can say, was almost encouraging against the Stallions, but if you're not scoring, you're not scoring. Yeah, the pieces are there, but you have to execute them. And they haven't done it. They've played terrible. They've been up and down. The Generals are just not a very good team, but they're at least consistently mediocre. Whereas the Panthers, any given day, can just be horrible. The Generals are consistently average, which in the North, coincidentally, can be enough to make the playoffs. And very possibly will if they win this game. So the safe money, I think, is on the Generals to win the game, but against the spread, there's probably never going to be a 7-point spread this entire game at any point. So Generals to win, Panthers plus 6.5. So we have 2 disagreements this week, is that right?
Yes, we do. The Gamblers and the Showboats, the Panthers and the Generals.
There we go. I appreciate that you picked the Stallions.
Yeah.
Let's look at let's do power rankings. How about it? Let's do it.
Yeah,
it's difficult
definitely.
in this league.
It is very difficult, but I already gave away my number one selection right here. And after I read these off to you and you read yours, I do want to go through what RJ Young thinks about it this week also. But number 8 right now, I dropped the Panthers down. I think if they do win this game against the Generals, they're going to be moving up. How far? It's hard to tell because it depends on how the Maulers play against the Stars. But at number 7, I have the Generals. They need to get over that hurdle first. Number 6, I have the Maulers, because after that beatdown, I had to drop them down a slot, and who knows where they're headed from here. I bumped my Stars back up to number 5. They are climbing as long as they keep winning, but I really don't have a lot of faith in them to keep winning. So we got the South teams, number 1 through 4. 4 is the Showboats. I still have them down there until they get more wins in their column. Breakers at number 3, Stallions at number 2, and the Gamblers will be at number 1 until further notice.
Until further notice. Okay. I agree with a few things. I disagree with a few other things.
Yeah.
Maulers at 6 is very generous, by the way. They are really battling hard for 7th place here. In fact, this week I'm putting them at 8. After that showing, because 0 points. I know they beat the Panthers, and that wasn't too long ago, but the Panthers at least fought, and they played the Stallions. So that is more justifiable. It's lost, but it's more justifiable. Getting blown out 22-0 by the Boats, much less justifiable. They thought they had something, they clearly didn't, and the most explosive thing the Maulers are producing over the last 2 to 3 weeks is the kick return game. That is rough. That is a problem. Not much in terms of offenses last week. If your kick return is the most explosive player on the field, the best you're getting all day, that is an issue. So Maulers at 8, Panthers at 7, Generals, Stars. So that one we agree on in that order. But by the way, the entire North, 8 through 5, very rough. Even bigger of a split than we ever had in the XFL, because at least we had the Roughnecks in the top 4.
Yeah.
Getting into the South, though, I'm paradoxically putting the number 1 seed right now, the Breakers, at number 4. And that is because I'm looking at recency more than I'm looking at overall. Breakers look great, but they've lost 2 straight, whereas the entire rest of the division, they are currently winning. Breakers at 4, Boats at 3, tentatively at 3. Because I believe they're going to beat the Gamblers, and they'll rise up to 2 next week. But Gamblers 2, Stallions, undisputed MVP, best tight end in the league, second best running back in the league, certainly best quarterback in the league, best defense in the league when healthy, best head coach in the league. I'm going to stop making claims at this point, but Stallions at number 1. They are going to beat the Breakers, firmly confirm their spot at number 1, firmly confirm the Breakers spot at number 4, take the lead in the division because the Showboats are going to beat the Gamblers, and forevermore for the rest of the season are going to be the undisputed number 1, and you're going to have to put them there next week. You're going to put the Stallions at number 1 next week, because there will be no option, because the Breakers and the Gamblers are both going to lose.
If they both lose, I'll have to. Yes. Yep. Yes.
Next week's power rankings are going to go Stallions, Boats, Gamblers, Breakers, and then the North. That's how it's going to go. Showboats from. We talked about the Stars going from number 2 to number 8 within like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
At one point, the Boats are going to go from number 8 to number 2 in the same time span. That's my bold prediction.
I think I did. I think I had them all the way at number 8 at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, the Showboats were number 8 after 2 weeks. Absolutely.
Yeah, they were bad.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say the number 1 running back in the league also for the Stallions?
I said number 2. This is
number 2. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you have him behind Wes Hills or Mark Thompson?
Yeah, Hills.
Okay, gotcha.
Just looking at touchdowns.
I think Mark Thompson's making a run for it, though.
But Marable catches the ball, though. Like, he's making an impact in the receiving game, the screen game.
Yes. Much like
I will claim the second best running game in the league for sure. Maybe when it's all said and done, I will claim the best,
including quarterback running.
Including the quarterback, I might claim the best soon.
Oh, wow.
I'm certainly claiming best player. I'm certainly claiming undisputed MVP. I'm certainly claiming future NFL quarterback. But I'm also claiming best team in the league.
Best tight end.
Best tight end by a long shot. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking through it. Who would give them a run as far as tight ends? I will say the Showboats are using 3 tight ends in the receiving game. That's unprecedented in this league. But
see, there's Cole Hikatini, right? Hikatini is probably one of the more talented quarterbacks as well. The quarterbacks, tight ends.
Josh Peterson, Sage Surratt. Sage Surratt may be the closest to Jay Sternberger at this point.
There's some NFL talent there, but Sternberger is a definitive NFL talent. So is Hikatini.
Yeah.
And they have experience as well. Magoo, on the other hand, has not been in the NFL as far as I'm aware.
He was on the Raiders on the Raiders. I want to say he actually played in a game, as a matter of fact. Right?
Did he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Did he really? Oh, I have to look that up. That would surprise me.
Unless I'm thinking about maybe I'm thinking about McGloin actually.
Oh, Matt McGloin could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
I'd have to look that up though. I feel like I've seen him actually come into a game at some point.
He's going to be on one though. If he stays healthy and finishes the season as he is currently playing it, there's really no way around it. Which sucks for the Stallions because they're going to lose the MVP. But it's going to be good to see him in the NFL as well because dynamic quarterback. If he's going to make it in the NFL, different story because he's very sort of reliant on the run game, and we've seen that sort of flash but also crash in the NFL pretty quickly. But we'll see how it goes. I do think and hope that he will get a shot though. Stallions are number 1. Yeah, that's the bottom line.
Yeah. Let me tell you what RJ says for this week. Now, my friend RJ Young, he's a big Oklahoma Sooners. Actually went to Tulsa, but he's an Oklahoma Sooners fan, so I won't hold that against him right now. But he's huge.
A lot of things I could hold against him just for that. But
exactly.
We'll keep it down.
Yeah, huge college football analyst, but he loves these spring leaves. Also, number 1, he has the Gamblers, and me and him agree on that. And then number 2, he has the Showboats. He has the Showboats over the Stallions. Stallions at number 3, Breakers at number 4, and then we could just mix up the North. 5 Stars, 6 Generals, 7 Maulers, and 8 Panthers.
Yeah,
can't argue with
the North
that
however you want. No, can't argue with the North. Pick that however you want. Bottom 4 is fine. Yeah, I'm not gonna let you put the Stallions at number 3, man. No chance. Odds-on favorites to win the game. Runaway MVP candidate, like front runner, like anything but an injury, he will win that award. Most NFL talent by far. Best home field advantage, and probably home field advantage in the playoffs. Nah. Stallions gotta be number 1. Number 2 is already pretty bad, but number 3 is egregious. I am not allowing that. It's banned. That is illegal. Stallions have to be. And I believe, though, it's just a matter of time, right? Like 7 days from now, not a soul on this earth will be able to disagree with this.
Dang.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because they're going to win convincingly.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the Stallions, but you really have a lot of faith in the Showboats saying that.
I mean, to me, it's already ridiculous. Now put the Gamblers over the Stallions. Yeah, if the Gamblers win and the Stallions win, sure, some people will have the Gamblers. We'll still have the Gamblers at 1. Yeah. Which, fine. Fair enough if you want to do it. But, first of all, I do think the Showboats win. Mm-hmm. But I also think, regardless of what the Showboats do, the Stallions are better than the Gamblers, and they should be considered as better than the Gamblers. Mm. That's what I'm thinking.
1 and 2 in the South Division. The Stallions are.
Stallions are playing the Gamblers in week 9. By the way,
yeah, I was just looking through the schedule,
and they play the Boats in week 10. So there's some big matchups in the South.
Yeah,
coming up.
Definitely.
Close of the week.
I mean, it's possible. If the Showboats are as good as you think, it's possible the Stallions could end up with a losing record in the South.
They're not. No. Stallions win out. The Stallions win out from here. Let me be very clear about that. Okay, Stallions win out. They win this week. Next week play the Stars. That's free. Then the week after that play the Gamblers. Hard fought game of the week, but they win. Showboats week 10 they win.
That's tough.
Other than that, it is tough. Yeah. But I believe, because I think the Showboats are going to be the Breakers. And I believe they're going to be the Generals. So they still are going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the best team. Oh man, that division is so tough. I think right now they have a really good shot at making the playoffs. Unless the Breakers get hot again, the way they're playing, it's hard to believe that. But it's very possible because we saw it happen. And, man, the Showboats could keep winning. The Gamblers, dude, that division is so tight.
It's hard. It's tough.
It's so tight.
There's only 3 weeks after this one, by the way, and we are all seemingly unanimously taking the number 1 seed out of the playoffs right now, which is still the Breakers. So that really tells you how strong the division is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Be interesting to see. Do you have anything for this week?
No, I think that's it for this week.
All right, then, to everyone listening, let us know your picks in the comments. I'm making a lot of bets this week. I got the Stars money line, have the the Stars against the spread, which doesn't exist, same thing. I have the Boats money line to beat the Gamblers, which is going to be a big payday, and I have the Panthers plus 6.5. I'm not touching the Stallions Breakers thing because homerism, and the Stallions are favored anyway, as they should be. But I think I'm gonna make some good money this week as well. Let us know your picks. Huh?
Oh, I was just saying that's a crazy spread.
It is, right?
For the Generals to be favored by that much.
Looks like too much.
Yep.
Looks like too much. But let us know your picks. Let us know your playoff bracket. I think it's time for playoff brackets because after this we have 3 more weeks, so it's time to make some predictions in the North and in the South. Who's gonna go in? South is hard because you have to leave 2 good teams out.
Yeah.
That's a very difficult one. But try anyway. Let us know what you think. And MVP, power rankings, whatever you want to talk about, let us know in the comments as well. And we're going to see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Check